All right. Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Calvin, and I'd like to welcome you all to this webinar. And I also thank you for taking the time to attend. Today, we're going to dive into the life of a business analyst. And hopefully, by the end of this webinar, you're going to be able to determine if a career in change management is right for you. Our esteemed speaker today is Mr. Mukhraj Saberwal. Mukhraj is an SAP engagement manager with 19 years of experience, including 10 years of global experience in managing SAP projects spanning across the USA, Europe, and Asia with major IT consulting organizations. Let me hand it over to Mr. Mukhraj and he'll take over from here.
All right. Thanks, Kevin. So, hey guys, I hope you're able to see my screen and hear my voice loud and clear as well. Welcome to the session. We host these sessions to encourage the right insights that you guys must have before choosing your careers. Also is important that how good you can map your forthcoming opportunities to a likely career which you may choose, because it's based on certain prerequisites, experiences, and other things which you bring in. So we did a huge research across the entire pan India, and we realized that there are some kind of generic domain skills which are plentiful in there. And we also realized that at some point of time, let's say after 2 years, 3 years, 5 years of career, somehow the growth path gets a little stunted, right? Which also means that there's a need for those professionals to input some fresh dope, some fresh kind of a new gen perspective into their careers so that it can start the climb again. And this is something which we have realized for last almost 4 years now. And one of the more successful careers that we have been able to provide, that we have been able to groom you into, is that of a business analyst. The situation is very clean, guys. A 30%, if I choose a random sample of the about 60 odd people that are right here in the webinar, at least one third are going to be from IT. But in IT, I mean that they may be in a little more commoditized roles, which could be that of a tester, which could be that of a programmer, which could be that of some kind of a functional analyst or some kind of a documentation, etc. 30% of populace today is going to be likely belonging to finance, but that's like a back-end finance, which is like transaction processing, being in the back-end center of a retail bank, an investment bank, an insurance company, so that kind of a role. Maybe 30% of folks today are here from scattered domains, like somebody is an engineer working in manufacturing organization, somebody is a telecommunication engineer working for Airtel, somebody is a supply chain management guy who's working for, let's say, Elf Lubricants, yeah, a French petroleum company. Somebody is looking after sales and marketing, probably for a FMCG company. Honestly, this is also which is more of an internal roles. Now, if you may ask me that what could be a just a real kind of a good, thoughtful shortcut, and I said thoughtful shortcut, which can take you into a little different trajectory. A time and tested thing is that of a business analyst. The business analyst is a role which uses your current skill sets and all of these, yeah, it uses back end skill sets of a finance guy to say, hey, you know what? He's specialist in some kind of a transaction processing in terms of a fixed income product. It's in some kind of a treasury, some kind of a account receivable, account payable, journal ledger, etc. So he's got the process understanding. He's got the background handling and experience. It is just that he wants to just step up and come into the front end. What is a front end? A front end is where you meet with a client or a customer. It becomes a customer facing skill. But then would you be okay to come into a front facing role? I, I think as an industry kind of a professional for the last 20 years, I really think it will make a lot of sense. And that is proven by enormous statistics where front end people are typically the ones which definitely have a back end skill, because that's why we call them a SME, a subject matter expert. So they bring that expertise from their backgrounds, but they just get more polished, more groomed to behave, to act, to talk, to walk like a business analyst. And that's the front end role. So this means if I ask a question, hey, if a backend guy who has a good domain understanding and has been working for, let's say, a few years, if we take him through the method, the methodology, the process, the tools and the techniques and the communications and whole kind of knowledge areas which are required for him or her to shape up like a business analyst. And of course this business analyst situation comes from one global body, which is the IIBA, International Institute of Business Analysis. So if you go through maybe a certified course from a accredited training partner of IIBA, which can make you behave like a BA by utilizing your previous SME experience. Yeah, so is your career going to step into the next step? I can emphatically guarantee you that the answer is a big yes. So to give you a little bit more understanding into why choose the career as a business analyst, what skills are required, what are the prime responsibilities of a BA, so that you can ask yourself that question and answer, hey, would I be able to handle that thing? Okay, and accompanied by what are the tools, techniques of a business analyst, what he or she needs to master before they can step up. What are the BA's contribution today? Why it's probably called one of the hottest roles, one of the hottest careers of 21st century. The reason being that probably you bring certain clear value adds, between the client and probably some kind of a backend teams, which are likely going to develop that product which you recommend. And this product could be a functionality, it could be a software program, it could be a business process change, it could be any kind of a transformation in the client's landscape. So if you are a middleware between, like a bridge between the client, which is the business, and the backend teams, and you're able to perform that role well, I think the sky's the limit for this kind of a successful business analyst. So probably let's utilize some time today, to just talk on this. And I think I'll reserve the last 15 minutes for you to guys to put up your questions in the chat windows or in the question window, so I can be able to care for that as well. Yeah. All right, guys. So we have heard a lot, right? I mean, in the recent years, we have seen that, what, the growth paths are stunted. People don't grow much. At some point of time, they tend to slacken down. Organizations don't have much opportunities. And if we always think of this thing and ask, hey, is this organization going to nuts or something? But why is it happening like that? The reason is not problem with the organization. It is a problem with the times, because the times are changing and they're changing very fast. Now you may have heard this a lot before, right? Times are changing and the 21st century is bringing a lot of transformations. And the answer is yes. And I'm not going to always talk to you about the artificial intelligence or the machine learnings, which are bringing in a tremendous amount of change. Yes, those changes are coming, but the world is not going to flip suddenly tomorrow and say, hey, you know what? I'm artificial intelligent. I'm machined learned. And hence, I'm going to behave in a very different way. It doesn't happen like that. It's going to take a long time, of course, before such capabilities are built. And then they are used to implement, those technical applications which can be part of humans' everyday phenomena. So let's park that for some time. And then let's say, what does 21st century look like? The problem with most of the organization is, guys, that it's highly competitive situation now, and the even the most that you can think of, I will still say that you're still thinking the least. So being in the so I work for the world's biggest consulting organization, and I can tell you that how much of competitive pressures we have all felt, in the recent 10 years. So there seems to be in a word we are going in, guys, where technology advances are absolutely fast and furious, like Toretto. Yeah, there seems to be a software which is embedded into probably everything. Yeah, every company is now a technology company. All right, gone are the days when probably Colgate Palmolive was just about selling toothbrush and tooth powders and hygiene products, etc., in the market. Right now they are all driven by technology, because for heaven's sake, technology has stood as the only competitive advantage which they can have over probably Procter and Gamble or any kind of other oral dental care and hygiene companies. Yeah, so change has become a constant factor. So this means if I ask you guys now, your population right now is sitting here is 90. If I ask you guys, have you ever realized that is change your constant? Which means you do keep changing, you do keep adapting. And what does that mean? Does that mean that, I become a little bit more efficient in terms of time discipline. Is that a change? Well, probably yes, but frankly, it's more of an organic change. What is more than that which you are trying to do? Which means, are you trying to learn something new, which is clearly aligned with the 21st century? Yeah. So, guys, the centuries will change, and they will bring enormous amount of challenges for us. It could be coupled with nervousness, etc. But let me tell you, the humans are and will remain the most creative people. So any amount of bots can come in, any amount of robots can be deputed, but eventually don't forget that humans are driving them. Now, humans are driving means humans have that technology edge where we are creating and inventing something new. So if that is the case, you may ask yourself a question, hey, am I in a wrong environment where too much things are not being created or being invented? The environment is the same, only you have to change your role. So today, if you are a networking engineer in a telecom company, if today you are a supply chain professional with an FMCG company, if today you are a back-end finance analyst, you can bring that change, but you will need probably some kind of a new education, some kind of a grooming, some kind of a skill sets, something like a business analyst. Why? Because business analyst does not demand any strong prerequisite. It doesn't say, hey, you guys should have the Python and the R knowledge. Hey, you should have a tremendous amount of capacity to display your skills for programming languages. You should have something like an all encompassing information about all the software tools which today are deployed to integrate with legacy applications. I didn't demand anything like that. And that's why probably business analysis is, to be honest, a more successful career because it has no entry barriers. So anybody can walk in because somebody, so today probably, hey, 22 people amongst you today could be, let's say, from finance, in the sense that they are BCom guys who are working for some, some kind of chartered accountancy kind of a firm, who are working for some kind of transactional situation. But remember, you have a domain knowledge, and that domain knowledge is called the finance part. Now, whether in finance you attend to 2 products, 6 products, or 10, that's up to you. But being a domain guy is enough to walk into a into a business analyst role. All right. So if you're looking at the slide, guys, the traditional versus the modern business analyst. So there's obviously a lot of things have changed. If you look at what used to happen earlier, the BA practices were fairly informal. Okay, so BA, if I would like to define that, is business analyst is a guy or a girl or whoever who's able to interpret the business needs and requirements, put them in a written mode which aligns with any of their current processes, tools, technologies, etc. So today, if you go to a client, so let me take you to a client called XYZ. So XYZ is a big client who deals with consumer durables, competitive market. It uses technology and a good product to its advantage. Fair enough. Now, if you walk into this client, you will realize that all clients are on certain processes, right? Now, these processes are what they do today. So, what does this consumer guy do? You know what? He does procurement of raw materials that gets shipped to his, the client's factories, where manufacturing processes churn out finished products from those raw materials. And then there is a dispatching of this product to warehouses. So that in the warehouses, we stock, and then from there we send that to the customers who send in their orders. If you look at it, I will say what all processes are included. There's a procurement process, yes. There's a purchasing and inventory control, yes. There are manufacturing processes and quality control, absolutely yes. Is there a supply chain involved? But of course, the inventory going to the warehouse and from warehouse going to the customer is supply chain. And then, is there customer relationship management, CRM? But of course, where you would be without that? All right. So this means there's a lot of processes here. That's where you guys start looking very, very efficient. So you all come from certain processes. All right. So when you become a business analyst, you typically are sent to the clients which belong to the same domain from where you came, because the company wants to utilize your business analyst skills. So the the like 5 years back, the business analysis practice were more informal. The BA used to sit with the client, understand their process, and tend to get some kind of a initial inputs on what the business wants. So the problem could be very simple. You know what? This business, sitting in the warehouse, what we do is we the inventory which comes from the plant, it's taken in and it is stocked inside the warehouse. A lot of clients today I see, a lot, even if 21st century now, yeah, they still do all these processes pretty much manual, which means the stock is taken off, the stock is collated, it's documented, and then they are stored. But this could be a more manual situation. We have, of course, a lot of automations which are now there into a clear-cut supply chain principles, where we use, for example, a quick barcode gun to read the codes on the products. The codes are immediately uploaded into the mainline software, where they immediately get deputed to the module of supply chain in the system, which says, you know what, 100 quantity has come in and 100 is ready to be dispatched to any customer that you need. Now, in the same software, there is a guy who is sitting on the dispatch side. Now, he's sharing the same software because it's an integrated software. Let's call it a ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning. Some of the famous softwares are SAP, Oracle, etc. So everybody right now in the business situation is integrated with one common software in this client. So the dispatch guy looks at the updated material quantities and says, you know what, I just got 100 quantities which are updated because they came from the plant and are stocked in the warehouse. So he immediately creates a delivery order, and then the transport guys quickly pick it up and the logistics are done, and the customer receives the supply tomorrow. This means in one day there's a complete turnaround from the time when the material was received from the plant till the time it reached your customer, fairly because of something called automation. So automation today is important. I believe it is. But who are the guys who can analyze what is that can be automated from a current manual setup? And that is, guys, where business analyst comes in. So whether you might be from supply chain area, you might be from telecom, you might be from wherever. But the fact is that thanks to the process understanding, this starts becoming easy. Yeah. All right. So what is the today business analyst looking like? If you look at these blue things, it says today, business analyst is able to do much more than traditional BA, which means he's able to do a strategy analysis, able to build a business case, able to carve out a value management perspective, able to create strategy executions, etc., etc. So, such kind of innovations which have come in the business cycles now are absolutely breakthrough capabilities. And that is what the BA enables the organization with, hence creating a competitive edge. Okay, and that is why, guys, the role of a business analyst becomes very important. Okay, some quick definition of a business analyst is, yeah, it says, you know what, a business analyst is able to perform a variety of initiatives within an enterprise. It could be simple operational things, it could be tactical, it could be very strategic. A business analysis may be performed within a project or beyond a project. What is beyond a project? Where the organization is trying to continuously evolve itself. Hey, have you heard this before? Continuous evolution, ability to optimize their cost and hence take out a better profit, ability to optimize their current value management services so that they are able to give a more definite service to the customer, hence creating a competitive advantage for themselves. Have you heard that in consumer goods? Have you heard that in finance firms? Have you heard that in banks? Have you heard that anywhere else? The answer is yes, because everybody is now trying to do that, and hence they need business analysts who can help them do the same. All right. So, guys, the role of a BA, which has been probably more traditional, is something like that. 10% BAs typically end up doing group facilitation, which means they primarily focus in the department of creativity, innovations, etc. 80%, which is the vast majority of business analysts, typically do requirement management. They help to create business plans and business case. They help to do a decision analysis. They help to do a change management for a client. Yeah. So this is broadly the areas where some percentage is devoted to strategic analysis. Some of them are always involved in enhancing a particular processes more and more, so as to be able to bring in a continuous improvement. All right, great. So this is a role, guys, as you can see on the slide, with design. By design, it is a hugely analytical role. So we make you, so this course makes you master at analysis. So you can analyze whether it's data or is a non-data. Either way, you'll be capable to understand, assess, and digest what is the key things which this client needs, and hence the same key things can be transformed into some kind of a software tool, some kind of a innovation, some kind of a a situation where we can either change a process or something else, but we can take advantage out of it. Okay, all right. Business analysis, by the way, is the latest and the greatest attention which is getting, from CIOs and no less. Because to remain competitive, CIOs need that the BA's role is at the heart of success. Okay, so because they know that BA plays a crucial role. How? He or she identifies what is manual today and can be automated. Point number one. Point number two, how that can be automated. Point number three, why it should be automated. So it's what, why, and how. I mean, the BAs are able to answer this thing with such amazing clarity that it immediately ends up being a business case, which tells us very frankly to a client that if you do an X amount of quantitative investment, then a Y amount of qualitative benefit is what you're going to accrue. And typically, the business case always turns out to be positive. Yeah. Okay. So who can be a BA? So let me emphatically first clear it off before there could be some confusions that okay, you know what, I don't have that, so I can't be this, and I don't have, I can be this. You can be anything, guys, till the time you think you want to be. Okay, and honestly, I wouldn't deny that, but probably 15 years back, I was hearing a similar webinar where I was working in a supply chain client with a supply chain client. I was responsible for core sales. I was responsible for some kind of a branding, marketing, customer support, etc. And then I realized that can I do something more than what I'm doing now? And then I decided to come into an IT career. But since I'm not an IT guy. I never learned any programming. I don't know how to do a lot of testing, etc. So I learned the phase of being a business analyst, clubbed that with my supply chain knowledge, and came into IT as a supply chain business analyst. And then I started my project in terms of going to the clients, trying to understand their business, trying to understand what they lack and what they need. And being from supply chain, I could talk the same language. That is where I say being from a domain is very, very important, because then you can talk the same business language to the client. All right. So who is here, guys? Freshers, recent graduates, postgraduates. It's fine. If you have a bachelor's or a master's in IT, in science, commerce, arts, it all relates to a domain. And then on top of it, if you have some work experience as well, maybe it's in IT, banking, finance, telecom, etc. There, then suddenly you start looking very ripe to become a business analyst. Yeah. So this is also for people amongst the group today who are looking for some global certifications, who want to have some kind of an IIBA certification on themselves, saying that, all right, Rakesh Parashar is a certified business analyst from so and so. Yeah. All right. So I just want to check out that you might become a good business analyst if you like at least 60% of these things: problem solving, happy to bring new change by some kind of different ideas, which could be good, bad, ugly, but it doesn't matter till the time you have some goddamn idea. If you want to facilitate and work among people, if you think communication is a fine idea, if you think that you need to bring some new skills to yourself, you want to enter obviously a better promising and a career which obviously gives you more money than today, right? You want to be a specialist in a certain area. You don't want to be a generalist anymore, because frankly 21st century is clear. I need specialists and I need them in a certain area. So if you want to be a subject matter expert, I think you might be making sense by being in this webinar. Okay, so why you should choose the career as a business analyst? Yeah, if you feel that being in, let's say in IT, I'm doing a manual testing role and it's been 4 years, and testing is absolutely getting automated. So there are automated scripts. You feed those scripts with a certain standard customer data into a testing queue like HPQC. You can do any kind of a testing at any speed which you want in this world. So if testing is a big deal in IT, I would say it used to be a big deal in terms of volume of work. But now, because with the automation, the quality of work has become different. So you feel, hey, you know what, in probably another 6 months I'm going to be redundant and I can be easily replaced. And I won't deny your feeling, because even today, I mean, I take care of very big IT projects and I know that I have to redeploy people, because unless they change their current profile because I don't need that in my projects anymore. So they need to learn something new, and we help them to redeploy, right? So that's something which is important. So you're doing the same thing every day, you make no impact, right? Then it's time for you to probably start looking at these slides with more attention than what you're looking at them right now. Okay, so what do career, what kind of opportunities are there for business analysts? What really are roles they do? So somebody asked me this question about a couple of months back, and I realized that it was important to do this slide to tell them, guys, some some of among you today who are, let's say, experienced from 5 to 10 years, they can absolutely straight, go to directly roles which are reporting into CXOs, CEOs, business heads, etc., right? Because then obviously you have some 5 to 7 years of good work ex, and they put you in the same domain as a specialist, and then obviously that opportunities come up. Most of you are going to get into a client facing role. Most of you are going to make decisions. Okay, you can be, or you can be part of those teams which make decisions. So you'll be part, some of you can be part of strategy teams, some of you will be part of change management teams. Either way, the territory is very virgin, which means that you can find a lot of roles which are awaiting in case that you are able to showcase the combined integrated knowledge and skill set of your domain and that of a business analyst. So you take care of your domain, and the the training institution will take care of your the BA part. They will also help you to merge that together. Yeah, so I think that's what I've understood Imarticus has been doing for almost 4 years now. So they have a IIBA certified curriculum. So they are accredited partners. So they do some kind of 2 months of long, training, weekend classes, where some kind of a 60 hours of business analysis is taught to you. So cover all knowledge areas which are part of the IIBA BABOK, which is the Bible of Business Analysis. So they cover all that. They treat you with rough taste, raw taste, very fine taste, through ample amount of case studies. They also identify you are from which domain. They identify the processes that you have learned in your current domain. And then they groom you in a way where you tend to talk sense by using your business knowledge, which they teach you, plus your process knowledge with which you came yourself with. So that combination and marriage is something which is very important. All right, 5 reasons why you should choose the business analysis as a career. If you like variety, if you think you want to be part of delivery and operations, if you think that you want to participate in a continuous development role, yeah. So and you want to get into some leadership positions, you want to have a different perspective, which means you should be owner of certain perspectives which the market or the clients can appreciate. Yeah, then it's time for you guys to probably think of this. Variety for a business analyst, amazing. So there's such a wide scope only for the reason, guys, that the organizations are transforming very fast. So today they want to improve their supply chain processes. Tomorrow they want to improve their procurement processes. Day after they want to improve their customer service processes. Fourth day they want to automate a lot of their current processes. Fifth day they want to start a new innovation in terms of creating some kind of a great engagement with the clients. Okay, so there's tons of it. Yeah, so variety is immense, but this role enables you to perform that justice to that role as in form of a lot of variety, because it enables you in a generic way and in a specific way as well. Okay, then comes operations. B is able to, so I don't think there could be any better example probably than mine. So became a BA, I had worked for about 4 years in supply chain. I became a business analyst. As I came into IT, and I started attending to clients which were, largely in supply chain, I started looking into their processes. I was able to appreciate their weaknesses in their processes. I was able to bring that out. I was able to discuss that with my IT teams, who were able to give me certain specific solutions. I used to take it back to the client. They used to agree upon it. Okay, and then we used to start the IT developments. And then when I say IT developments, then I used to guide the team only from a business perspective, because I'm not an IT guy. But the IT guys were obviously able to, write specifications. They were able to do programming, testing, etc. And then the product used to be ready, and we used to deploy that in the client's environment. So I used to bring so-called requirements from the client. So I used to understand business requirements, translate them in some way to IT requirements, and then the IT team used to pick it up, right? So And then what happened that once you start going to clients like that, you realize that it's great if you also have a software perspective, which means if in your thinking horizon you have different dimensions of technology and you're able to talk about that, it works fantastic. Because then you're a business guy because you learned business analysis, you're a process guy because you came from a certain domain, and on top of it, you're able to, you're able to just talk about what the clients really needs the most. So these three things coming together create the right magic, and that's the magic or charm of being a business analyst. So what happened that the third dimension was technology. So process plus the business side plus the technology side. Once you learn it all, and I had to learn that after about a year and a half that I came into IT, because most of the clients were sitting on SAP. A lot of them were sitting in Oracle. So when they used to check the business part with me, they also used to talk to me about which technology and which technology will be better and why. So within a year and a half, I learned most of the technologies being in IT. Considering I'm just about an average intelligent guy. So I was able to learn about SAP, I was able to learn about Oracle, I was able to learn about custom technologies, I was able to learn in which scenarios, which processes are best fitted to be dealt with certain specific technologies. So then I became tremendously confident within 2 years. Yeah. So BA is that bridge, which brought me into the IT part, and then I was able to learn more on business, more on clients, more on IT, and that's how I mean, I came into operations as well. So I did operations for almost 10 years, where I used to deliver the transformation project for clients, because I used to understand most of the technologies quite well. But that was thanks to the fact that I did BA role for the first few years. One thing which I can promise you with the role of a BA is that your thirst for continuous development about yourself will be satisfied. Because when you become a BA, you're thrown to different clients. You go to, sometimes in the beginning you go to the clients whose process areas and domain is same as yours, but then you start becoming domain agnostic BA. And then I mean, after 2 years I went to chemical and energy petrochemical clients, and after that I was done, taken out and thrown into retail clients, those big retail chain clients. From there I was taken out and thrown to consumer goods clients, and from there I was thrown into utility clients. Yep. So the span of understanding and information starts getting much larger and larger. I mean, that will give you a tremendous opportunity to have a multiple choice, something which we all don't have at liberty of, right? So at least you have a lot of wide choice, which area I want to give you, what I want to do in that area, from a singular skill set that I have, which is that of able to analyze the business perspective. As I said that maybe, let's say there could be some freshers or people who have probably worked a year or two only. They may start as a junior BAs, but anybody who has done 4 to 5 years, anybody who has done more than 7, 8 years, they're all going to get start definitely more than that. So your BA role will be significantly important also based on the number of experience that you bring in when you step into a BA role. So prior to that, how long you have worked really decides a lot. All right. So perspective, as I told you, right? I mean, slowly you will start becoming a specialist. So in about 3, 4 years, I became a specialist for petrochemical projects, which means everything that an oil company wants to do in terms of upstream drilling, exploration, finding the petroleums, those kind of landscapes, and then downstream marketing, which is into refining the petrol, diesel, and naphtha and bitumen, all kind of products, and then start marketing them across the retail chain, franchisee stores. So I started learning all that stuff. That is where, guys, you will start earning a perspective, right? So salary is important, to be honest, but what's more important is the perspective. Yeah. So and the perspective is something which pays you in the long run. All right. Okay. So is everything so wonderful about being a business analyst, or there are some kind of challenges as well? So yes, there are challenges, just like any other career. Even business analysts tend to face some challenges. But it's all right if I just give you a small snapshot here, so that you guys are able to understand that part, right? So one thing is, a lot of business analysts tend to go a lot deeper into analysis. So analysis is good, analysis is great, but sometimes people tend to get too much into analysis. So which means that they want to go over analyze things, and that's what we call paralysis by analysis, right? So since you are given a massive amount of information within a short period of time as a BA, but that doesn't mean that you should know where to stop. Okay. So Typically, what we advise the business analyst community is that the analysis should be more of an iterative process. Rather than you churning the data, pouring your day and night over it, you should take out a random sample, analyze it, take few readings back to the client, discuss with them, iterate with them, bounce with them, and with the new learnings come back and then try to see the data in some different way. Because there are plenty of analytics tools anyways. Excel is not the only one. But then it's not too important that how much you want to learn that tool. What's important is how do you want to see behind the process. So what will you do? I mean, you pick up a client process, then you look at its entire detailings, you look at it, how much it is engaged in as a process to create output for the company. And that's something where you start noticing that what could be right or wrong, which is at this point of time, to helping to mitigate those risks, helping to mitigate those areas which are probably going to run into errors very soon. You really put in a value perspective to the client. All right, knowledge and skills. So business analyst guys have to work in the twin word of business and technology, and both are vast fields, right? I mean, expecting that a BA, which is very business savvy, should be able to keep a control on all the new technology updates which are going on. I doubt that can happen, right? So the idea is that how does a BA with a technical background attain an acceptable competency in the business domain and vice versa? So the IT guys sitting here today might say that, you know what, all we know is to probably code and program and test, So how will we attain the knowledge of a good business analyst? And the same question is true for people like, let's say, supply chain guys who are primarily with business. So they want to ask that if we come into this domain, right, how will we adjust because we don't have any technology perspective? So the solution for this is, guys, that basically every day of a business analyst role is that of an amazing learning process. Reason is very simple. You need to be in touch with business and technology. Business is changing, technology is rampantly changing. You will have to read that stuff every day. Yeah. So obviously certifications in such specialized areas help because they give you a tremendous amount of knowledge. For example, let's say the business analyst course that I think these guys run, it has something like 50 different tools, techniques, and practices to get to understand the requirements of the client, right? So in a way you get I mean, I will say exposure to a tremendous amount of information which is relevant, and hence that relevant information helps you to tide over your current doubts that I'm not a tech guy. How will I help to do the tech creation? I'm not a business guy. How will I help to understand the business perspective? There are some big challenges obviously for business analysts, right? So you need information from the client, you need to sit with them, talk to them, discuss their areas of concern, business pain points, where do they suffer, what is hitting their top line, what is their bad shape of their bottom line. So when you sit with the client guys, we call those guys from the client side as such stakeholders. So stakeholders are the guys obviously who will be able to give you info, you'll be able to devise some solution, walk through with them, and then it can be published. So stakeholders management is a massive area in business analysis, and that's something which you will probably be learning. What do we have in the course curriculum of a business analyst? We have strategy analysis, we have planning, monitoring, requirement elicitation, solution evaluation, techniques and tools. We have lots and lots of case studies. We have scope, vision, and requirement analysis, etc. So this is the broadly the entire area which is taught to you in the curriculum for a business analyst. All right, great. So I deliberately kept about almost 20 minutes, guys, for the queries because I know you will have plenty. There are almost 100 plus people sitting here. So please be open. I will open the question windows and I'll quickly keep seeing what I've got and what I want to answer quickly. All right, so I'll start from the top. Okay. So Krishnan is asking, I'm working in a BA role for the last 2.5 years. What is going to be the future of this, right? So obviously, Krishnan, I think the future of business analyst is obviously growing, but it will grow provided that you are able to commensurately touch base with the latest and greatest of the evolving practices of business analysis, the evolving tools and techniques of business analysis, etc. Now let me ask you a question. For example, one of the latest and greatest things which you have seen in the market is that of analytical tools. So we have a lot of data to mine, and we mine that data to bring out the right requirements. Now, some of these famous techniques in business analysis is called data mining. I'm not sure whether you're doing it, but I think it's time that you should be doing that because data is increasing. When you go to a client, he says, "Hey guys, I ain't got time to talk to you. Here is the data. So please get into the data room and analyze it and infer what you think is the right thing for me." So there are tons of things to learn. And yes, BA's a very important question is, can BA act as a project manager? Very simple answer, guys. Today, if you're about 4 to 5 year work ex plus, the organization will need at least two skills from you, which means it would like you to perform the role of a business analyst, but also take care of that project as a project manager as well. So while in the shoes of a project manager, you will take care of the project cost, project timeline, project deliveries, project skill sets, and etc. But in the other shoe of a business analyst, you'll care to get all the right requirements, which the team under you as a project manager can develop as well. So there is a twin skill phenomena happening in the market for last 2 years. So it will obviously likely lead you to that of a business analyst and simultaneously a project manager. Yeah, so Lakshmi, I think Imarticus, of course, will reach out to you, and they will, they will give you the right guidance. There will be a lot of career counseling. They will give you all the information. Then yes, so Imarticus Learning is where you might be able to reach out to for checking more on this. Another question is, how are the opportunities for business analysts abroad? Okay, so guys, two things. The If you go abroad as a programmer, as a tester, frankly, there's no value because again, what is required abroad is more of it how you can face the client. So client facing ability in the role of a subject matter expert and a specialist is true only as a BA, largely, and hence this role obviously is very useful. The good thing here is that I think Imarticus, yes, Imarticus is running, the certification for, it will give you certifications which will come directly from IIBA, which is the International Institute of Business Analysts, which is the global body for all kinds of business analysis. So if you do that, some kind of a certification like that, Prasant, it becomes easier for you to probably go abroad, and typically in Western countries, the role of a business analyst is something most acceptable. So if you have few years of work ex in a domain, plus you are a certified business analyst, you can, you can make that opportunity for yourself. One question which is coming up is DevOps format. Guess doesn't need a BA, but IT works directly with the SME. So guys, this question is now more important because this question is coming from the agile environment. So now most of the software development lifecycle doesn't happen in traditional waterfall methodology, it happens in agile methodology. So with this course curriculum of business analyst helps you to become a business analyst for agile way of working as well. In fact, the new name for this part is called agile business analyst. So you become, in this curriculum, we have ensured that you learn everything about agile and DevOps plus you are able to perform your role as a BA. So you become very compatible business analyst who can work in any agile or DevOps mode as well. Another question is it better decision to start the data analysis or data sciences or a business analysis? Fantastic question. So guys, data scientist is a role where I think it deserves at least one prerequisite. You better be a programming guy because in data sciences today, you learn the skill sets like R and Python, which are definitely coming from the word of programming, where your query writing skills should be very much there. So then you are able to learn R, Python, and stuffs like that, and use those to write, fundamentally complex algorithms which can, churn out the inference from a large set of data. So if you think that you have already done, you can jolly well pick up the data scientist role. But if you think that you don't have those kind of backgrounds in programming, you're more of a generalist, you're more of a domain guy, you're more of a the earlier domains that I mentioned, then it'll be great time for you to step into the role of a business analyst indeed. Okay, so Neha is asking if I can address the point of how to start one's career as a BA. Yeah, so no worries, Neha. I can take you back to, I think that slide can help. Okay, so how to start the role as a business analyst? Yeah, so frankly, I'll probably explain this again. If only you have any kind of a domain skills. Yeah, so for example, Neha, if I may ask you, which domain do you come from? So Few guys can just quickly pop up in the window which domains they come from, and I can answer this question as better. So your domain understanding is the prerequisite. Your enrollment into a certified business analyst course is step number 2. And then I think in a couple of months, you'll be able to learn most of it. And then I think your obvious value in the market, when your CV shows, that Neha is a supply chain, telecom, or a manufacturing kind of a SME plus plus. She has done a certified business roles plus plus. She's now able to articulate the business understandings and requirements of such businesses as a BA and translate the same to IT teams for the development of those functionalities. I think then the sky's the limit for you. Okay. So, Tessin, if you're working as a BA for last 5 years and you have finance background, tell me something. When you said I'm working as a BA, my first question is, are you a certified BA? Because honestly, most of the Indian organizations I've seen what they do. So Tessin is working on certain, let's say she's working on quality control area or she's working as a transactional analyst, etc. If the scene happens to be a more promising, shows promising results, they typically tend to put you on the requirement side. So it's not by design, but by default that you become a business analyst. If that is the case with you, then it is time that you formalize yourself, formalize your degree, formalize your graduation of a business analyst, get a global certification, the one which probably I just mentioned. Something like that is going to spike up your value, because today you are business analyst by default, but tomorrow hopefully by certification end you will be a business analyst by you know um, by choice. So it will be a business analyst by design kind of a thing. And then the career options which you will have is what I've shown you earlier. You can go into any client facing role, you can go into decision making, change management teams, strategy teams, and obviously because business analysts find all these roles open for them. Okay, so one good question is that it comes from I think us. I sorry I couldn't get the name. Is that I've done business analyst in multiple. Vinayak. So Vinayak says that I've done business analysis in multiple areas. So probably it's going to be telecommunication, products, chemicals, so and so and so. So so that's great. First of all, it's great, Vinayak. Congratulations that you have multi skills, which also means that you are a domain agnostic BA. Yeah. So if you're a domain agnostic BA, I'll always say appreciate that you have domain knowledge of multiple domains. The crux of the matter is, what do I choose for myself? So first of all, whichever domain you're most comfortable with. Suppose that is finance. So what you need to do is you need to refresh your finance fundamentals and then pick up all those projects where you worked as a finance business analyst. Club that together, create a strong platform, learn a bit more about finances, a lot of product, because finance is ever increasing, right? So you may not be sure that you're knowing all the products which are available in finance, right? Plus, I think getting a certification makes a lot of difference the way people look at you. Yeah. So whatever you have learned best, what you think has been the easier domain, then it'll be a great idea for you to pick it up and then focus on that domain and claim yourself to be a business analyst of that domain. Okay. One question is, I have 2 years of experience in customer support operation. Currently, I'm learning investment banking. How do I entry in my BA happens? Okay. So first of all, you have experience in 2 years of operations, right? Now, remember, business analyst is a beautiful career which allows you to blend your different learnings. So when you say I'm a customer support guy, number one, so that's strength number one. Strength number two, you're currently learning investment banking, right? What is going to happen is that step number three is going to be that you're going to learn business analysis as well. Then typically, customer support operations is a pure backend role. Investment banking can be backend, front end, both. But let's, for the sake of ease, let's also call it a backend role. What BA is going to do is business analyst certification is going to make sure that they put you forward into the client's landscape as a business analyst who can care for customer engagements, customer support operation, customer relationship management, and the domain perspective, which is going to be obviously banking, investment banking. Because to be honest with you, in your case I would have chosen that as my domain because it's obviously much more lucrative, right? So this is how BA allows you to blend your careers into a single career, and that single career is able to pack the punch which you want to display to the market. So Krishnan says I'm a 2000s XXX graduate, passed out in electronics. is BA good for me? So Krishnan, it depends. If you have, if you want to obviously pursue any field related to electronics, communication, telecommunication, etc., as a, as your future career. But just like me, if you're a reluctant engineer, which means that when I did my engineering, it was a mechanical engineering, and no way I wanted to get into those hydraulics for heaven's sake. So I didn't take that up at all. I rather started working, and within very short period of 2 years, I think years of sales kind of a career, I immediately went into business analysis. And within 3 years, I was a business analyst. So it depends. If you want to work as an engineer, that's great because you will gain at least some experience as a manufacturing setup person, and before you come into BA. And if you don't want to go as a shop floor engineer, I think BA makes sense because it will allow you to learn the front end tools. And then coming again from a communication background, I think that will suffice for you to start as a junior BA. I haven't seen any challenge in that for all the freshers. Okay, so Sayantan says, what kind of analytics tools are required to be learned? So Sayantan, typically in business analysis, things have changed now. Previously, things used to be a lot discussed on the business, on purely on business background. So there, a BA like Sayantan used to sit, draw, a detailed as-is business case, check out all the process flows, check out all the process steps, check out all the events, check out which people are using what process at what point of time, and then hence, what is going wrong. And then, Sayantan used to, find out what is the gap in discussion with stakeholders, and then he used to design a draft, business processes, which are going to be the ones he saw, but with multiple changes. So at some process steps, he thought that it will be better to introduce a automation. So that automation is introduced there. At some point of time, he realized that this value chain of the process is weak because the data is not secure, the data is not safeguarded, the data integrity is not secure. So then you create requirements to make that data secure. So then some solution is built by the IT teams, whether they do it via configuration, software, programming, testing, coding, doesn't matter. They will be able to design a solution and deploy it back into the system. So that is the way, you will probably obviously make a difference. But the fact is that yes, you need to learn data analytics tool, you need to learn process analytics tool, you need to learn a lot of techniques which business analysts use today, because there's no one, two, three, or five fixed business analysis techniques which can work wonders. You need to learn at least 50, because today the latest Bible of BA, Babok version 3, has almost 50 different techniques. So you need to learn all that, and that is what we make you learn. Yeah, so that at any point of time, whatever technique is applicable, you use that along with multiple other techniques and then check the results. So one question is that Deshmukh says that, do we need experience in some business, or can we start our careers directly as business analysts? So as I said, you can start directly. At best, what will happen is if you have very less business experience, you'll probably start as a junior BA. If you have some business experience, you will start as a midterm business analyst. But honestly, the the, the you will get into the business analysis side, and analysis of business via business processes, via data, via people, via tools and techniques, and all vias put together to churn out what is the final design you want to give to the client, because whatever pain points they had till date, they won't have it more, is the magic of a business analyst. So doing your masters in infrastructure management, I think may not be very useful as a business analyst, because infra people, so basically application side people are more, tuned in with the business analysis. Infra people, yes, you still have a choice if you want to become, you know, it, it's not called business analyst, it's called system analyst. So in any case, I think you are going to become a system analyst who will be designing the requirement, but from a system perspective and not a business process perspective. If that is something which interests you, then I think this can help you. Oh, that's a great question. Is there any difference between business analysis and business analytics? Yeah. So after completing business analytics, jobs are open for business analysis to it, or there is a difference. So guys, there's a difference. Business analytics is something which you will probably do via the more analytical courses. So let's say data sciences is more analytical courses because you churn a lot of data. What kind of data? Procter and Gamble, globally big body, 15, $20 billion company, sells products in 120 countries. There are pack-wise sales, product-wise sales, region-wise sales, geography-wise sales, etc., etc. So the data is so immense. If Procter and Gamble wants to say, hey, Can you do some business analytics for me? In that case, you are able to churn the right inference that which geography needs what kind of a advertising, marketing, branding kind of a support. Because by putting X amount of money in advertisement in that geography will give me X plus maybe 20% of returns in sales. That needs business analytics. This is business analysis. So business analysis, guys, is a more wider subject than business analytics. So being wider, it teaches you so many things under the umbrella coverage of business analysis. And then you learn most of the things about data, analytics, business process handling, stakeholder management, etc., etc. So that's the difference between business analytics and business analysis. How important is it for BA to have a master's degree or a certification? So master degree, not important. Certification, business analysis, most important. Because frankly, it's only then when, Sanket, the market starts looking up to you. Okay. One question is, how will a sales and marketing guy do this thing? Yeah. So guys, this is a brilliant question. You know why? Because I was that sales and marketing guy 15 years back. So remember, as I said, domain skill is important. So sales, marketing, this is all part of supply chain. So when I came to get certified as a BA, so first of course I learned business analysis, did some certification, walked up to my first company and told them that guys, I'm a supply chain business analyst. And they say how? I said because I have done most of the areas and processes for customer management, customer relationships, primary sales, secondary sales, brandings, marketings, and so and so. So I have learned all those areas. So what they did, you know what? They sent me to a client in FMCG. So this client was doing the same stuff, right? They were doing branding, marketing, sales, supply chain, etc. And they wanted me to look at their process to say, hey, we need to look at some automations. And I could speak the same business language of sales and marketing. So I had no problem. So that's how I was able to go forward. Now, 13 years of WorkX. So guys, this is a generic rule. And so this will be the last question I'm answering, but I need to answer that. If you are at, let's say today you are a 13-year WorkX, you get 13 lakhs per annum. Okay. That is because of your domain perspective only. Now, if you get BA certified, that's an add-on value you bring on top of it. Now, when you start after 13 years as a BA, you obviously start as a senior business analyst. So your entire previous work experience is definitely taken into consideration before they give you the role of a BA. So larger experience fetches you a senior business analyst role. As far as the composition is concerned, typically BA skills fetches you about 25% over what you are today. So if you are at, let's say, 13 lakhs, it's going to be 13 plus maybe 20, 25, 30% more, depending on how well you do in the interview. But that confusion should not be there, guys. There's no ambiguity. If you're a senior guy, you will get a senior role. Whatever is your work ethic, that's all taken into consideration because that domain experience is a critical must to be a successful business analyst. So trade finance backend operations is fantastic, guys. A lot of BAs I've seen in recent times, they have been from trade finance. So your first step to change your career after this course will be to simply apply as a business analyst for select products that you have done. If you go to naukri.com or any other site, yeah, you put this thing, finance business analyst plus certification plus etc. The opportunity that you get from finance companies is, so let's say today you open up a advertisement from JP Morgan. They want business analysts, but not as a general finance business analyst. They want business analysts for trade finance. They want business analysts for, let's say, fixed income product, etc. So BA will not teach you only about fixed income or trade finance. It will teach you overall business analyst, and then those two things clubbing together give you your value. Okay, so guys, what you can do is that, oh my God, there are like 1800 questions more. I'm so sorry, I can't answer them. But what I suggest you is, please get in touch with Imarticus. Imarticus Learning will anyway get in touch with you. Please ask these queries to them. Somewhere a career counselor is going to get connected. And in somewhere, this probably will come up, all the way where somebody, sensible from industry can answer that. Okay. So I hope you found this interesting. You found it provocatively interesting so that you can make a decision to step into the wonderful role of a business analyst. Yep. So good being with you guys, and thank you for your attentions. I hope you enjoyed that. Okay, over to you, Kevin.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mukhraj, for the session. And I also like to appreciate you guys for attending this webinar. I know that all of you guys have a lot of questions, so just visit our website. It's imarticus.com. Speak to one of our career counselors, and we'd love to guide you and help you with your career. If you would also like to refer to this webinar in the future, it will be available on our YouTube channel in 7 working days. Please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more practical and insightful information. Also, you guys can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We keep posting a lot of interesting stuff out there. Yep, we are going to sign off for today, and thank you so much, everyone, for attending this webinar.